Preis Young Professionals. Und worum es da geht, das lasse ich die.
Refik, can you add Roman as a co-host?
Oh, co-host, yes.
Website.
Now he is co-host. Everyone is co-host.
Von einem Algorithmus analysiert und nach inhaltlicher Relevanz.
All right. One more coffee.
Yeah, I should have started with the coffee. It's true.
Oldschool Nadeldrucker, weil das der einzige ist, der noch dieses Endlospapier befördern kann. Herausgepickt, ausgedruckt. Dann läuft das über dieses Band, da kann man sich diese Nachrichten angucken und anschließend zerstört. Da unten ist ein Schredder. Der Haufen an Papierschnipseln wird größer, sowie der Ersparnis an verwendeter Leseleistung. Die Installation sortiert wie ein Rechenbreak, der Name, die unnötigen Informationen aus und sammelt sie in einem Haufen. Ich fand das großartig. Ich finde das auch immer. Ich habe mich mit den Machern längere Zeit unterhalten und irgendwann kamen wir auch darauf, wie haben die das denn eigentlich mit dem Algorithmus gemacht, der das analysiert und nach Relevanz sortiert? Und dann grinsten die beiden etwas verschmitzt und sagten, also wir haben die Nachrichten, die da jetzt gerade durchlaufen, gerade auf der Zugfahrt hierher nach Linz. Der Algorithmus ist nicht ganz fertig gemacht.
Hi, Refik.
Und das ist, glaube ich, eine
Refik.
Die Sie bei KI ganz oft
we are online, so I will stop listening to the introduction talk, and I guess we have to start now.
Yes.
So it's really fantastic to be together here to talk about our new project. And you are presently, maybe we have to say that clearly, you are in Los Angeles and yes. I'm in Hong Kong.
Yes.
And of course, we hope that our friends around the world can figure out what we are talking about. So first, I would like to thank Electronica for this invitation, which is a fantastic opportunity for us to talk about research we have been working on for the last year. And this is something that should come very soon in reality. And we wanted to share with you the birth of our babies. And for this, of course, we have to say a little bit about ourselves. Terrific.
Hello again. Hello, Linz, or everywhere in the world. Very happy to be here with Maurice today. As a media artist, we all inspire from the community of Ars Electronica, and I'm really honored to be here with everyone. And thanks to the entire Ars Electronica team who is behind this monster organization. So thank you for putting together, not dropping the ball in such a hard time. So I am in Los Angeles right now in the studio, and Maurice in Hong Kong, and then we are working with MindSpaces project, and it is a very special consortium with many partners, which Maurice can also mention. So we are working together, major group of people, thinking together, imagining together. So today we will share these unique baby steps of aliens.
Yeah, thank you, Refik. I wanted also specifically to thank Manuela Hillman and Crystal Bauer for this invitation and the great support we had. Because in Hong Kong, we set up a kind of big garden with something like more than 30 content projects, artwork, conference, symposiums, symposia, and workshop and exhibition and video interviews and so on. So we had a lot of fun, and it was a very good pretext for us to do this stuff that remain undone without that. So I think the first thing we should do to, as an introduction, is to introduce our working environment. And so, Refik, I think you should start. You have a wonderful studio, and I think it's a really great thing to share it with our friends. Yeah.
Switching to the live camera. Hope you can.
Yeah, we have your image. So you have
okay.
to reverse. I guess you want to reverse after the other lens. Yes, great.
Yes. So right now we are in the studio. One of the aliens that is getting alive is here, currently getting information from the weather data. And currently it is creating its first maybe dreams, Maurice, maybe the first steps, the first learning its own settings. It's a prototype in the room. And the studio here in Los Angeles is really trying to create symbiotic relationship with machine intelligence. And especially also in this research, we have been working with machine learning algorithms and trying to narrate this really challenging world of latent space. And as we all know, the AI now is sorting information in many different dimensions, which is really impossible to perceive unless we have a research tool. So I think this MindSpaces project will be also exploring this invisible space in the mind of a machine. And we are trying to create this kind of symbiotic relationship between different levels of millions of information, image archives, video archives, sound archives, text archives. So this is one of the prototype of like using real-time information, and the aliens will be communicating each other. And while they are communicating, they will be creating like symbiotic relationships. And this is one of the most important part of the research that will eventually become a part of the alien, which will be connected soon. So the other part of the studio, maybe traditionally many media artists in our studios, we have exciting spaces. And what is really fun to have is not only just computers, but we have also different tools that are allowing us to sculpt this world of data and algorithms. So in this room, I want to show you another friend, another entity that is trying to narrate its own self is this machine. This friend doesn't have a name, but its job is just trying to create three-dimensional data sculptures, 3D printing, large-scale physical entities, and then later on becoming a part of the research as well. And this time we have the robotic mind will be augmenting. And I think very cliche, every media artist and their lots of electronics, lots of cables. So we are going to the space that, so this is the entrance of the studio. And here we are very well known and inspired from deep space. And also it's one of our environment where we imagine architecture as a canvas. As a studio, we have been also researching with algorithms that are trying to understand the invisible patterns inside latent space, which are data paintings, and exploring different amounts of information and different level of augmentation of the unknown in the mind of a machine. And if you turn here, this is one of the examples of what that robotic friend is printing. And this is Frank Gehry's Disney Hall. And here, just a second. I want to go to the live mode. And here, some more aliens getting trained to be communicate later from ISS, Mars, and even actually Ars Electronica, one of the Ars Electronica archives, have been trained and learned. And then finally, not only just imagining with the algorithms in virtual space, in this black box, we have also universe that is augmenting the quantum dreams. And in research, in immersive space, visualizing quantum computing. And like many of us right now, virtually connecting each other, another studio here that is connecting us to the world.
like the many others. And these are the wonderful team who are right now ghosts that I've been working with, and they are right now in their home. It's almost 2 a.m. here in Los Angeles. And this is our mini experiment visualizing the real-time perspective of the user, and it is tracking real-time the audience location and augmenting those paintings, which is one of the perspective problems of the 20th century, is now becoming another entity here and trying to understand. So I think very quickly, I believe that's a quick hi from Los Angeles to everyone in the world in Linz. And now switching to the other computer.
Thank you very much, Refik. That's a fantastic view of your studio, which is really amazing. I will present now the situation where I work. So I'm in Hong Kong. I'm in the School of Creative Media, City University of Hong Kong, and this is an interesting place with a lot of facilities. But I cannot introduce them. But I can introduce you to my lab, the Neuro Design Lab, and this is where some of the most recent works happen. So I will also switch to my mobile camera. So I guess you can get this image now. It's not full screen, so how can I get it full screen? Maybe I have to talk to it. Yeah. Just 1 minute. I have to be sure that the microphone is on. Join audio. Oh, sorry. No, that's okay. Let's imagine that if I move, this will become a priority, but it doesn't seem to have the microphone on it.
You unmute yourself.
Okay, I unmute it. Ask to unmute. Yeah, can you unmute me? Yes, thank you. So this is now. We should now give the priority to this screen to check. So this is the studio. You don't see very well because it's still small. So how can we be sure that you get the video? I would love that. So maybe I think if you select it as your host, yes. Okay, you get it. So you see, this is where we work on the series of brain factory, everything related to the neural design, values, and so on. And so this is the team in action, because here it's a day still. Hi guys. Here you see something which is actually the creature which is being recently born, and that we will soon be evolving and dialoguing with the other one in the circle. So its behavior is starting to be defined, and you see that the thing is actually sometimes reacting to people. And it will soon react to Refik's creature. We tell you more about what we are doing. So that's the structure of the tunnel from the exhibition in 2016, the Osage Gallery, Just Dig It. And with one of the works that were presented at the time, here this is what we are training the machine to learn to build the memory of what we call
Maurice can't hear you. Maybe me? Sorry, I can't hear you. Can you hear me? Hello? Yes.
Is it okay if I speak like that?
Yes, now I'm hearing you.
It's already up.
And you see here the DNA of Respect 242, and you see the different components that actually describe it. And the next brain worker will inherit of this DNA, and this will have an impact on the final shape. And this will go to the blockchain, become a value, and people will do some trading with Respect. And this will become transactional poetry. But this is not what we are talking about today. So I hope you could listen to me, because it seems that we had a sound problem. I go back to my screen.
Hey, space and space and space and space.
And now we can go back to the original computer. That will be easier.
Thank you very much, Maurice.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello.
Hello, hello. Can you hear me?
Normally it should go back to.
Thank you very much for
Can you see me? Yes. Okay. Sorry.
Thank you. Thank you.
So we wanted to do a little contextual presentation, and now we can dive into the dialogue.
Yes.
And so
Maurice,
I say a few words about MindSpaces research program. And
yes.
This is a European research program in the framework of the START Lighthouse Call. And it's 14 partners. It's a collaborative research project with 14 partners from 7 different countries, including Hong Kong. That's the interesting part. And we can say among the partners, we have the Center for Research and Technology. Do we have a problem with sound?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Okay. We have, you know, I have a feeling to be in the space station and that we are trying to communicate with Earth. The
so
situation
and I think
is correct, and if we can keep on talking. So can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Good.
Okay.
So the partners are University of Maastricht, Universitat Pompeu Fabra, the Barcelona, Aristotle University in Thessaloniki, McNeil Europe, UP2 Matrix, Neo Games, Hadid Architects, Espronceda, Isignon, and City of L'Hospitalet, City Hong Kong, and so on. So you see a lot of partners working on what? Working on a project called Art driven, adaptive, outdoors, and indoors design. Refik and myself, we are actually invited, we have been invited to be the mentors, if I can say, of the project, and try to bring some diversity in the vision of research using sensors, using the capacity of the world and the capacity of the things to be reflective of their environment. And how this can have an impact on the design, on the conception, and how it can have an impact on society. And this is what the project is about when we started to work on an urban media art installation that we would do together. Refik?
Yes, can you hear me?
Oh, we cannot hear you.
Yeah, I think you're a speaker.
No, Refik, we can't hear you.
I think your speaker may be off.
Your speaker is off.
Your speaker may be off.
Sorry.
No.
Sorry.
So it's, I think what is really very inspiring in this project, first of all, the name of the consortium, MindSpaces. And if you start from there, and it's a really inspiring moment in humanity that the machines can learn, machines can analyze our emotions, machines can predict things, machines can innovate things, imagine things. And we are living in a world where machines can learn. And I think this project, I think 1 year ago, Maurice, when we start thinking about how we can actually navigate this world with these machines, with this incredible collaboration, many partners, many experience, and from the software to hardware to academic thinking, of discourse of this near future, and clearly art, science, and technology coming together purposefully to create an impactful outputs. And one of the most inspiring part of this project is we create a piece for public space, which is, I think, very important for these aliens. These aliens are not in a gallery or a museum. These aliens are not at home or in their virtual space. They are actually will be in a public space, which will be also a very good context of the project. Sala City of the Hospitalet, and I think popular neighborhood around the area will be inspiring piece for the artwork, which is very important for the project, public space.
Yeah, that's something very exciting. We started from the context. The context is a city of L'Hospitalet de Llobregat, which is a city just next to Barcelona. And this city is not like the rich city of Barcelona. It is a popular city in the suburbs, let's say, but it's the second city of Catalunya. And so it's a very important place, and where there is a wide community of immigrants, of people, mostly workers, living there. And when we understood the context, that was actually the complexity, the diversity of the population there, we thought if we do something in the public space, it should be something that addresses the question of diversity and mutual understanding, which was quite easy since we were actually dealing with a lot of capacity of sensing the world around. And so if the computer is, if the artwork can receive information from outside, that means it's open to others. That means it's open to understanding. And this is exactly what the project is about. So we decided to make two artworks. So you see, we're not working together. We decided to make two artworks, one facing each other. And the idea would be that this artwork would be like aliens. When I say aliens, I'm not talking about science fiction and monsters coming from other planets. I'm really talking about strangers. They don't know each other, they don't know their environment, and they just try to figure out what is this world, what they just landed. And so they are immigrants. And these immigrants have to understand at the same time their environment, and they have to understand each other if they want. And so we decided we wouldn't design them to do something specific. We would design them to have an autonomous or quite autonomous behavior. And so the complexity of the relation between things that behave differently is pretty similar to the experience of discovering a new population, a new culture, and you have to assimilate it. And this is how we started with this idea. I can share one image, which is the very first image we did to think about the project. So this is Tecla Sala, which is the place. And we said, okay, we're going to have two, let's say, alien screens facing each other. And they will start communicating, observing, and they will have interferences that will be people coming between them. And of course, these interferences will be crucial, will be very important. So I stopped sharing this. I just wanted to, it was the first draft. Of course, as you can see, the design is not done. Plenty of things has to be done yet. But this is how we started.
Yeah, this is the kitchen.
Yeah, I just wanted you, Refik, to talk about this, this aspect, which is how we deal with the fact that we have artworks that want to know more each other.
Yes. So one of the most inspiring dialogue with Maurice that we have been thinking, first of all, it is, as Maurice mentioned, cultural and social integration is a very important item of this experience. And we are trying to imitate an experience of truly a real-time, generative, and adaptive intelligence, which I'm sure Maurice will deep dive in more later. And eventually, the artwork will evolve with its own context. But we should remember that we are surrounded by sensors, systems, machines that are constantly creating a context of life. And who knows if we're in a simulation or not, but we know that these machines are creating a context of its surroundings. And eventually, we know that data can only become knowledge when it is experienced. So we are trying these two entities, trying to create its own data, create their own knowledge, which is very similar as human beings. We have been creating our own mental models, all in system dynamics and many other references. And our evolution is based on like this dynamics that is appearing in our knowledge and experience and information that becomes like knowledge and then wisdom, and then that experience can become a memory, and then that memory can become like an imagination and then become a dream, and who knows, maybe hallucination. So we are trying to like really speculate and simulate these experiences through the lens of MindSpaces tools, which will be like a span across multiple softwares, different databases, semantic analyzing of text to like EEG sig, like there's an incredible amount of information from weather sensing, image sensing, motion sensing. Like we are really going some really big challenge here to understand how really we can stretch the goal of sensing the world in 21st century.
Actually, we have to maybe to point out some of the aspects that have been the most challenging. Because what makes an alien is actually its original culture, its cultural background, its memories. Because we build our understanding of the world, we build it out of what we experienced before. So consciousness is probably about recognition, it's about identification, it's about similarities. And we are talking about differences. So we thought, okay, let's start with our cultural background. And so Refik will take it. He has a good, I heard he has a very good database of pictures of Istanbul.
Yes.
And he can even do something with Los Angeles, where he is now. But I like the most contrasted aspect.
Yes.
And personally, of course, I'm born in Algeria, but I left, I was 1.5 years. So I couldn't really remember so many things, but I spent a big part of my life in France. So I have two databases that I want to use because they are weird. One is the close to the full collection of the French Museum pictures, because I've been working on a project called Economy, where we created a kind of a meiotic engine to dig into big databases. And And so we'll use that, how we are impregnated by the art history. So that's one thing. And I have also the chance to have something else, which is the Encyclopédie Diderot from the 18th century, the original edition. And so we scan them, and we're going to work with what is the culture of techniques as it was known at the time of Enlightenment. And so this is, of course, a discourse. So we are not playing only with pictures. Far from that. We are using them as an inspiration to alter the behaviors, the aspect, to see how gradually this creature will be inspired by their present environment and how their past memories will recede. So they will get information, they will get inputs from the physical world. I don't know if somebody comes with a red dress in front of one of the aliens. This may have a little impact that may appear a bit later or right away. And many things will have an impact and will be added to this dynamic memory, which, as we know, is a real palimpsest, refreshing itself, restarting all the time, and trying to reconfigure the articulation and the interconnection of elements and information.
And this part is really very important because, as we all know, that current AI algorithms, if they are not reinforcement learning algorithms, they are most likely frozen in time and space. Basically, when this information stored in the latent space, which is a space where this manifold context of understanding the model of life for these aliens, they will be like a frozen world. But we are trying to say something really speculative about, like, as we all know, any Android or AI machine is only intelligent as long as we collaborate with them. So this is like kind of an also collaboration between two artworks and their two models of like understanding their own context. And I think this part we have been like exploring will be one of the fresh perspective of really how we can create two models of reality that technically disconnected from its own origins, but how they can become again symbiotically connected. That is normally not designed in the mathematical context. And that's also very interesting because it's pretty much like a human intelligence. Once that data and the memory becomes a context for a machine, it can create new memories and eventually new predictions. And that prediction engine, that prediction aliens are becoming now not only friends, but also maybe a whole new exploration of their own universe, which is a whole unknown territory, uncharted world of imagination.
And this is, of course, where we go. Where we go is in this path where artwork are becoming art subjects, where artworks are becoming more than just static things or a predefined even entity. And this is what we want to discuss also around this work, because to make each of these entities is like a test tube where we experiment a new form of life. But this life, we cannot design it completely, but we can design certain of its functionalities. So if we consider that as soon as an artwork can feel, if we consider that as soon as an artwork can perceive the environment and can perceive the people in front of it, and that can perceive other artwork, this is how consciousness come to living beings. Consciousness comes from perception. If there is no exterior, if there is no thing out of the entity, there is no consciousness because it cannot be reflect on itself. This is not enough. So consciousness, what is interesting that it triggers certain behavior. Perception triggers emotions. These emotions with perception will trigger actions. So probably our aliens will try to understand, to figure out if there is a kind of aggression coming from the other or an intention of connecting. And it's very difficult because they don't have the same shape. So we are not even talking about gesture, arms, legs or whatever that could be interpreted, because there are some common ground at the international level. They are more different than that, but they still want to understand. So we have to create artificial memories to build their specificity, their identity. And we have to create also artificial intentionality. So they have to express that they want to do something. How an alien built that way is expressing that it wants to get in touch with the other. How it expresses that it taking advantage of the situation in order to evolve itself. The capacity of adaptation are probably, we say it's a witness, a proof of intelligence. But we know when we talk about everything artificial about artifacts, we are actually saying that artificial is human-made. Artifacts are facts made by the art, so by the means of the art. And this is something that we have to keep in mind. We create them, they live, they evolve. It's pretty close to giving birth after you're not controlling.
And the giving birth part is also very inspiring at the moment. Several weeks ago, we all know that OpenAI's GPT-3 come in the game. Now we are becoming writers of writers, thinkers of thinkers, and why not artists of artists? And these questions are not anymore funny, because as we all saw the Elon Musk's happy and healthy pics, that is like those Bluetooth signals are sending information. For many Ars Electronica culture, for decades of people who are already imagining this, it's not something new. We knew that that's coming, and we knew that it's predictably that the human mind is becoming a port, and our minds and eventually this privacy of like the information and the memories are already on the table, already in our tool sets. But this is a very inspiring moment that, as Maurice said, because if artworks can learn or process memories, can they also dream, hallucinate, and even remember or make connections between multiple artworks and their dreams? So we are not only like creating a symbiotic dialogue between two simple algorithmic systems or two databases or two neural networks. We are creating these questions in literally with, does being an alien AI in the 21st century simply means like doesn't forget anything. So these are like really our fundamental questions that not only techno-fetish looking all these sensors or algorithms or this capacity of research, but truly asking those questions in every single step.
Definitely. This is, what is interesting will be to observe how this kind of artwork becoming autonomous transmit and have an impact on the people around. We want to know if this image of entities that are, in spite of their diversity, can evolve, can learn, can modify themselves partly, but also give something specific, deliver some specific message. That may be something definitely fantastic. So we didn't conceive this project only for Tecla Sala. We thought this is something, this is typically a public artwork that makes sense in many locations of the world. And so this is why we want to explore deeper and deeper, and the complexity and the richness of the so-called aliens will be improved. So we have to say also that they will evolve during today and the day and the following days. They will evolve online. So you can see them, you will see them side by side, evolving their way. They are not yet connected. They are not yet talking to each other. This will come, but this will be in the street. This will be in the public space. That's something important. And I want, if it's not too late, and before we are cut, sorry, my coffee fall down. I would like also to say that everybody is welcome to the planetary wine tasting party on Sunday at 12:30 CET. It's just this moment of conviviality, of friendship that we used to have when we come to Ars Electronica every year, that we can reconstitute by connecting people around the world just to talk about wine, and other things live, and we connect. So I think we are probably close to the closing. Maybe we are already cut. I don't know. I don't know how to have this information. So let me check.
But also, again, being a part of START's community and really exploring this art, science, and technology in multiple scales, we are really excited to share this journey with everyone and all these questions.
So I think we said most of what we wanted to say. We have still enough to talk more, but I think it's really enough, because after we'll have to show the work.
Yes.
So thank you very much, Refik. Fantastic to work with you.
Thank you. An honor to work and imagine together, and everyone again in Linz and everywhere in the world. Great to be connected. Thank you for listening.